would you share with us some of your favorite celebrity anecdotes?
Oh boy, where do I start? Favorite celebrity anecdotes. Well, the person I interviewed the most times over a period of many years was Bob Hope. And he came into this area a lot. He had a lot of friends here, and he had a lot of business associations here with SMU. SMU built a little theater and named it the Bob Hope Theater. Of course, he had given them, I think, $1 million, kind of, paved the way. But every time he would come into town, either he would call or someone of his people would call and say, Bob's coming and he would like to talk with you if you have time. He always had something coming out, a new show or something that he wanted to talk about. And most of the interviews were done on golf courses. I remember one time we were at Preston Trails Country Club, and so we met there in front of the clubhouse, and he said, we can't do the interview here. There's too much confusion and everything. So he got a golf cart, and he said, we'll just go across the way there and set up and do the interview. So my photographer took off on his own, and I was in the cart with Bob and with Jimmy Chambers, who was the publisher of the Dallas Times-Herald, and a big guy, could have been cowboy on the Cowboys' front line, who was the caddy. He was riding on the back. And so we take off, and Bob's driving the cart. And he just whoosh, and across the greens, and suddenly we could see that there was a big drop-off. I mean, we were up here, and it was going to drop off. And fortunately, the caddy riding on the back, being a big heavyweight, he managed to steady the cart so that we didn't end up in the trees. But it was always an adventure to interview Bob Hope.
Imagine. So I heard you speaking briefly before that you recently got to interview Bradley Cooper. Can you tell us anything about that?
Well, Bradley Cooper is one of the more recent ones I've done. I had not met him because actually for about the last 10 or 12 years I've been on a part-time basis with WBAP, which is now KXAS TV, NBC5. We have so many names. I have to get them in the proper order. But he was coming into town for his new movie, A Star is Born. And that's a movie that's been made, well, he was making the 4th edition of A Star is Born. And he was coming in town, so I was able to do an interview with him. This was his debut as a director, too. So there was a lot to talk about. And as happens now, it used to be we would have a star interview and maybe get 10 minutes or so. And when they cut us back to 7 or 8, we said, oh, come on, We were pressed all just really upset about being cut back to that. But anyway, this one we were told we would get 3 minutes. And in caps, big caps, you get 3 minutes only 3 minutes. Well, we get there to do the interview, and lo and behold, it's Bradley with one of the cast members. Now they said you get 4, and we turn off the cameras at 5. So, welcome to television.
Can you think of a celebrity or any celebrities who were a lot different from what you expected them to be like?
When they come to us on camera, when they're promoting a film or whatever, a show, they've got the game face on, and you don't spend enough time with them to really get to know them. But some a few stars that I felt like I did get to know a little bit. Besides Bob Hope, I must have done, I don't know, 50 or more interviews. Bob used to say, "You've got enough stuff on me to do a 52-week series." But aside from Bob, I got to know John Travolta through a number of interviews, and John was always off camera. I would watch him with the way he was to other people. He was always a very nice person, friendly, considerate, the kind of guy that you'd think, yeah, he would be a nice friend. But as I say, most of them, when they're around us, they've got their game faces on, and you don't spend enough time with them to really get to know them.
There's one anecdote that I really liked in the book, and it is about Bob Hope. But it's when you got out of the golf course with him and you were wearing high heels. Remember that? You were wearing high heels and you hit the ball.
Oh, yeah. That was it. One of the earliest experiences I had with Bob Hope, he and Dolores, his wife, had a little press gathering at their home in North Hollywood. And part of that home was a one-hole golf course. It had been 3 holes, but he sold off 2 of them. And so, we were all out there and watching Bob hit a few golf balls and other people. And finally Bob looked at me and he says, "Bobbie, he said, come over here and let's see you hit a few balls." No. I said, "I've never had a golf club in my hands. I don't know anything about that." And he said, no, come on. And I said, "Look, I've got on a tight skirt and high heels." And he said, come over here. So I went over and he put the club in my hands and he said, "Now, forget about the ball. Just bring the club back and over your shoulders and swing it around. And just get the feel of the club." So I bring it around, and somehow it connected with the ball, and the ball went sailing and landed about a foot from the hole, from the pin. And Bob, his eyes got big, and he looks around, and he said, "Well, that does it. Tomorrow, high heels on all my golf shoes."